Good morning. It is 5:35. I'm down at my favorite place by the river and I can't park where I normally park because a lot of people are sleeping here overnight. It used to be nobody or maybe one person who got kicked out by his wife. Now we have 5 cars. So I don't want to disturb them. So I'm down in the handicap zone. Um, 7 years ago, I met a recruiter for an armed forces, and I'm not going to say who because it doesn't matter. Um, she said that in their military facility they installed cameras everywhere, security cameras where they could see every last possible corner of the facility, and apparently these people have sex in the hidden areas, as humans do, always and everywhere. And she queried this, is like, what's going on? And those above her said, there's going to be a war, and this is 7 years ago. And we have to be able to prove that everything was above board. And by the way, here's your gas mask. Military issue. I had a dream a few years back, and the symbols were, there was a bear, which is Russia, a tiger, which is China, and a silver ring like the Sikh people wear. So I imagine that was India. And there was going to be a war between these three. That was more than, let's say, 7, 8 years ago. There's a book called the Bible, which has been the playbook for the last 2,000 years. And at the end of that book, they predict end times, which is nuclear war and a war in the Middle East where Israel is and Russia. And, that seems to be happening. There's another playbook called 1984, which is written by George Orwell. And although I'm speaking to the converted in all these videos, I can't get on any platform where I can speak to the world. In 1984, there were the world was constantly at war, and the players were East Asia, which is China, Oceania, which is the British Empire, the island with the ocean empire, and Eurasia, which is Europe and the westernmost parts of Asia. And the war was always two of these ganging up on a third one. And what they were fighting over was possession of Africa. And this book is from the viewpoint of someone who does the news, and people are completely suppressed. This is a totalitarian society. And the news is only about the war and absolute fidelity to Big Brother, who represents the government. Supposedly, there's one single person behind it, sort of like the Antichrist or Return of Jesus. And what he doesn't like about his job is suddenly the news has changed overnight. And I'll give you one example. So Oceania and Eurasia are fighting the East Asians. And the next morning, it's the East Asians and Eurasia against Oceania. And he has to change the new news and go back through all the old articles and change the pictures and change the headlines. And this was both a warning to us from 1932, and it is said that those who are trying to take over the world, the game they play, they have to tell us what they're going to do, no matter how veiled the the form of that is. So this is the situation we have now. All we have is the news. We have the major networks, and the United States was the big economy in the world with the big nuclear clout, and China has been working around the clock with their Belt and Road Initiative to take over the world finances and resources, and Russia now has come out and tried to take this super valuable area of Ukraine, which will give them access to ports and about a 12th of the world's supply of food, maybe more than that. And the European Union's goal was to outdo the United States. I think at one point they did get up to 60% of the world trade. So what we're seeing here is a battle over economic control between the U.S., the European Union, Russia, and China. And what's going to happen to us little peoples? We're going to get crushed in that. And then who knows where it's going to wind up with. On top of this, we have transhumanism coming in, which is you're going to be half robot. And next year, 2023, there's planetary alignment